dog, loud and clear, man. I'm about to get us started. Let me just pull up the recording thing. All right, here we go, guys. Hi, welcome to another episode of the Black Guy Who Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
and we are live on a Sunday morning, ready to get you started bright and early. And we're not alone. We have a guest, your fave, our fave, literally voted the favorite guest of the Black Guy Who Tips. It is Chris Lamberth, comedian, podcaster, actor of stage and screen in the theater. What's going on, my brother?
Thanks for having me. I feel like I'm the favorite odd guest because I think you guys only did it one time.
Nah, we did it a few years in a row, man.
Wow. Okay.
It's really our fault that we never.
Yeah.
I was not consistent enough to keep doing that because it's a lot of work.
Yeah, and I'd be like, maybe I should restart, and I'd be like, okay, Karen, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, I gotta go get all these clips and stuff. But listen, man, I mean, it's like when I beat everybody at NCAA football in like 1998 in my college dorm. I'd never played that game again in my life. I beat everybody in one day, and there was no rematches, there was no part twos, and I don't even know if I played that game just like the next year. You know what I'm saying? Like 2002, I was like, nah, I'm good. I think I'm so. Honestly, you should take that as a badge of honor. No one can ever beat you as long as we're lazy.
I'm taking that. I'll take that with me. I'm not mad at it.
Man? How you been, bro?
I've been doing okay. Just been living a life worth commenting on. Just life, just taking it as it comes. Like as far as like show business and acting and all that. Just been auditioning. Stuff is finally coming back after COVID, and I feel like I'm doing some of my best work in my living room, doing self-tapes.
Have you experienced that, you know, what everyone's talking about now, which is this turn down in the amount of opportunities with film and television? So like kind of it seems like it slowed down after the strike. And then, you know, when things ramp up, it actually take, you know, behind the scenes, it can take 9 months, a year, because it's not like they say, oh, we're gonna start making new TV shows, and then the next day the TV shows are out, right? It takes a while. So have you experienced any of that ups or downs with like, can you tell via how many audition opportunities you get and stuff?
It seems like it's coming up. I mean, it was down for quite some time, and even through the strike, there were some low budget things that were available to audition for that were approved by SAG, but now some of the big shows are coming back. There's new shows, and so it seems like it's coming back. It's just a matter of like getting booked for some of them, and I think I've come pretty close in the running where they put you on hold, or they do a thing called check avail, where they want to check your availability to see if you're able to shoot that date. And as an actor, you're just like, if you book me, I'll be there.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I'll make time, damn it.
Yeah. Right. So there's like Happy Gilmore 2 I think they started the film, and I've auditioned for about 3 or 4 parts for that. And yeah, so that's pretty cool to be considered for that, because that's like, I remember being maybe 15, 16 and watching that movie over and over again. So the opportunity to be in an Adam Sandler movie or get to work with him would be great, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, just a lot of different things coming up, and just trying to take challenges as they come. Like I reached out to you, Rod, about writing. I had to do a packet for At Midnight with Taylor Tomlinson, and it was like a quick turnaround, and you gave me a 25-minute pep talk, and I just and you talked me off the ledge, and then I just didn't book it. You didn't book it when you see Taylor Tomlinson on Instagram saying season 2, guys, and like and she's in the writer's room that you're not in. So
right, that's the worst part about that. Yeah. I don't know why they have not made that better, but the worst part about the writing turn mill in that game, it's so unofficial. It's like, it's not like hey, we're accepting applications online from this date to this date. And then they send you like some sort of notice a week later, like, hey, you didn't get it. Thank you for applying. Like, as much as people, complain about just normal jobs versus, like they see these creative gigs as like this glamorous occupation. It's like, it's probably because they don't listen to JL Covan, but if you actually like start talking to people, you'll realize this shit is not that glamorous. It's actually kind of fucked up.
Yes.
Because it would be nice to get something back like, hey, you didn't make it, instead of being like, I wonder if I made it. I wonder if I made it. Hey guys, season 2 on the way. We got the writers room in here. We're about to do this thing. Everything like,
yes, I didn't.
Damn. And I love Taylor Tomlinson because she was already, when I met her, she was already on her ascent. Right. So like I worked with her at what used to be my home club, Levity Live in West Nyack, New York, which is like outside of Manhattan, maybe like about an hour outside of Manhattan or so, and worked with her maybe 2017 or something like that, and just emceed for her. And she had a great time. She did my podcast, and then she came back maybe a year or two later, and she requested me, and that was really nice of her. And she's a really talented comic, and I'm not just saying that to be show businessy, but just really talented and really nice. So it would be nice to work with her, but I just appreciated the challenge just to see if I could.
Yeah, that's my thing, right? So it's not even about the person; it's I'm just talking about the general.
Oh, sure, yeah. No,
and the same thing with acting too, right? Like you don't always get that like closure of like, hey, you didn't book the part, or hey, you got really close. It's just like, hey, Lehman Brothers starring such and such. And like, I wonder if that was my part. I guess that. Oh, okay. I guess I didn't get it. And it would just be nice. And for the record, same thing with applying. Like, it would be nice because you either need like an agent, a manager, or like somebody connected with some ends who will be like, yo, reach out to this guy. We think he might be okay for this. Because there's really no rhyme or reason. I know so many writers after Game Theory that are just like, yeah, I don't know what I'm submitting. I'm just working on my own shit, trying to write a palette, trying to do this because this formula or whatever this ecosystem is kind of a weird challenge as opposed to like, the regular job market where it's like so-and-so's hiring, you just go on their website and submit,
Yeah, it's a little similar because it's like in show business, they don't have to tell you anything. And you could just, and the feedback, I guess, in the acting world is if the casting directors keep asking for you, like this Happy Gilmore thing is like, whether I get something or not, like those casting directors kept saying, hey, well, why don't you read for this? Why don't you read for this? Read for this. It's not like they're saying that's them saying you don't suck. Right. So that's like the victory in and of itself. But it's like, I'm at the point now where I felt like during COVID, like before COVID, I felt like, and I think I might have mentioned it on your show, or I might have blabbed about it on my show, where it's like, I felt like artistically I was turning a corner as a stand-up, and I felt really good about what I was doing. Then COVID kind of stopped all that. And then there were some self-tape things. So I was getting to, instead of being an actor in New York City, where you have to literally drive to all these auditions, in my case, an hour from Westchester, where my day job was, driving into Lower Manhattan, going and paying for parking, going into this room and say, he went over there, sir. And you say two lines, you get back in your car and you drive home for an hour. And you're like, did I get it? And they're like, no, you were close, but So you say your whatever your day player lines are, and then you get to, and then from going from that to being with yourself in a room. My manager is kind enough to work with me and go back and forth. He'd give me notes. Then I'd have to really look at myself, and I was like, oh wow, this guy's pretty fat, but he's cute. Right. And then, like he's got a little something going, and you can watch myself and be like, oh, okay, I'm pretty good.
Right.
and just keep mining that. So that's like 4 years of work, and I'm starting to see some of that, come across. I just hope it turns into something that everybody listening, you guys included, can see soon. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I think also the feedback would be nice, to be like, hey, here's what you can work on, or here's whatever, which is something the industry doesn't really necessarily do a lot of times, kind of like churning people in, churning people out.
Yes.
That's probably why you need people, your management, talent, agency, stuff like that can help.
Yeah, and what's weird, like Roger said, a lot of this is who you know, because like you said, Chris, you go and they keep actually for a part. You might not get that part, but a lot of times they'll get other projects and
Right.
they'll request you again, and you might get it through another project. Might not be the one that you initially applied for.
Yeah.
Right. It's always, and then you try to. It's so hard, and I appreciate JL because he puts himself out there like that. And I feel like he does in a lot of ways too. But I try not to dwell, and I do that sometimes off mic or internally. Like, I can't get anything, and so it's just like you can't whine about it. But it's just like no, actually you let yourself have that, you let
Right.
yourself have
Have
those
to.
emotions, and then you say, okay, well, what else can I do? I can
Right.
do
You
some other
can't
things.
sit in it.
Yeah,
I
you
think
can't
some
sit in
people
it.
feel like the emotions are okay because it's just
Yeah.
human nature to feel disappointed, sad, frustrated, mad, whatever those feelings are. Then you
Yeah.
have to check that off, and it's almost like you have to give yourself a pep talk. I am somebody, and get your ass
Right.
back out there and do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
it's like it's part of the industry.
Mhm.
So it's just not like it's built in. Rejection is such a big part of everything in this industry, and then of course a lot of the stuff that even when you book it, there's just no guarantee. The shit could fail.
Right.
It could not work.
Somebody upper management could lose their job. That kills the whole project.
Yeah,
Well,
somebody
that happened to me. That
somebody
happened
could
to Oh, go ahead. I'm
book,
sorry.
like I was gonna say, somebody could decide not to go with you, and the person they go with is whack. Like they took a chance, they believed in them, and that's the shit that don't work. So there's just never any real guarantee. Have you ever auditioned for something that you knew was going like to Tubi? Have you got to that point yet?
No, I haven't done anything like that, but I've done like a couple low budget projects that was actually pretty good with good people. I just
Right.
don't know if anything ever came of it. Like there's a film that I did maybe probably like 2016 or something like that, and I don't know if it ever came out, but it might. I don't know, but it was a fun project where I had one of the
What's that like, filming something and not know if it comes out? Because I feel like every actor that becomes successful has a couple of those projects. And one of my favorite pastimes in Hollywood is when someone makes it to they ascend to that upper echelon, and it's like Sydney Sweeney is now the it girl, and then suddenly it's like, oh, cheerleader hard night starring Sydney Sweeney. And I'm like, why would she have filmed this? She just started working with Marvel, and then you look up and you're like, oh, this shit definitely got filmed in like 2018. It was shelved. No one was gonna watch this bullshit, and then she became somebody, and they were like, put the fucking film out. Like, do you, like, what is that like working on something? Do you worry, or not worry, but do you ever wonder if like you book something and then all of a sudden the Chris Lamberth old tape is gonna drop?
It's a part of I think it's just a part of the journey. I think now it's more, and I guess just being a fan of the industry, I think everybody kind of has at least one or two like that. Like I remember, was it when Marlon was on Club Shay Shay, and he was talking about Jim Carrey, how he had done a movie. I don't know if it was Earth Girls or Easy or something even before that, but one of them, like Damon Wayans, was in a movie with him, and Damon was like, Hollywood didn't want to touch Jim Carrey because his movies flopped. And Damon brought in Jim's like, you got to see this guy, to Keenan. And he's like, you got to see this dude. He's insane. And then that's Jim Carrey, skyrocketing into fame.
Damn.
Hey, Chris, you was tell us a story about you had got a project and like it was a management change or something.
Oh yeah, I get. I don't want to be too inside. Okay,
You don't
I
have to
will.
give names. Mm-mm.
I will say that there's a movie where I had auditioned for, and this was right before the strike, and it was like it would have been a good part for me, good money, maybe 3 or 4 scenes with the lead character and other really big time actors. And they were like, "Oh, can we check his availability?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm in. Like, if you want me, it came close to me and maybe some other guy." And then that project, the strike happened, and then the movie came back with another casting director, and so they just didn't have I didn't get called back in or anything, so they just
Right.
went with somebody else and filmed the movie, and it's coming out like in the fall. So I was just like, but it happens.
Let me ask you this. We're both gamers. We both have PS5s. You
Mm-hmm.
getting the PS5 Pro?
No, I talked about it on my latest episode that dropped today on the Mundane Festival, and no, it's too expensive. There's not enough games that really would warrant that. Uh, like it's nice to see the foliage better in The Last of Us Part Two, but
Right.
that's not this just not going to do it for me. If I were to get another one, I would say I'd probably just get a disc, the one without the disc, and leave it at my mom's house so I could play. But then that almost would be like $500 going to waste because she'd be yelling at me while I would be down there trying to play. So like I was
Right.
in junior high or something.
I'm trying
So
to hide from clickers. Be quiet.
yeah, mom, shut up, mom. I remember like I was playing that game one time on the PS4 the last time me and my mom and dad were all together. And my mom's like, I don't understand it. I don't understand this. This just doesn't look good. And I was like, well, your meatloaf sucks, mom. No, and then my dad was like, and my dad was like, he just likes it. That's what he likes. It was a
Yeah.
secret.
There's a
And it was
game.
in that mall and stuff. Go ahead.
There's a game called Alien Isolation, I believe. And it
Okay.
has this feature where, if I'm not mistaken, if you play the game and you have your mic on your headset or your the one that plugs to your controller, you're hiding from an alien. Like the
Mm-hmm.
xenomorphs. It can hear. So like that is a funny scenario to me, is that you're playing trying to hide from the alien, and then like your mom or somebody, can you come upstairs? And it's like, fuck,
Oh
the fucking
Yeah.
here comes a motherfucking alien. But
Yeah.
but yeah,
that's
it's
hilarious.
it is funny how like some parents just don't understand. I wonder what their shit was when they were younger, because I'm guarantee you they had some shit. It was probably like the TV or
Radio.
maybe
Maybe
certain
radio,
type of
music.
radio. Back in the 1800s, like books. Like this motherfucker right here is always in these goddamn books. What is a book going to do for you? I feel like every
Yeah.
generation has a thing, and also that makes the thing that came before it acceptable, right? So like
Yeah.
our thing might be video games, but I
Right.
think the next thing is gonna be social media. So there must be parents now who are raising kids who are like, get off that fucking Twitter and TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
they wouldn't call it the right thing. They'd be like,
It'd be
get
this-
off the tweet talk and
Yeah.
the
Yes.
FaceTime and get your ass on that PlayStation. You bought the PlayStation? Play a game. Use some attention.
right.
Learn about a story. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I
That's
done spent
it.
all this money in this system for it to sit down.
Right.
The Nintendo.
How come we don't play Spider-Man together anymore, son? That's gonna be our generation, just yelling at these little motherfuckers. But yeah, I looked at the PS5 Pro, all the hype videos, and I watched the 10-minute Sony presentation, and when I tell y'all, I cannot really tell the difference. It's not that it's
It's a slight difference,
Yeah,
like, but
it's
it's
so-
not. It's not large. To put it like this, the difference is not large enough to justify the jump in price. And
Right.
not just funny, for my personal opinion, in order for you to see this huge difference, you got to have one of them like top of the line, like extra special TVs. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like you got all the bells and whistles. Most people have like a standard 4K. but they don't have like the top of the line that you be like, oh, this is worth the price. So unless you're gonna really, okay, it's a little bit sharper. Okay, it's not $200 worth sharper.
Right.
Right.
It's so
Yeah,
weird.
they were saying that the current PS5 has the 8K capability, but nobody really has an 8K TV.
Right.
And then they were saying, like, well, if they would have put Grand Theft Auto 6, if they would have showed us a trailer of that, maybe that would get more hype. But, I think this is just a lot. And you guys have talked about this for a while, and I've talked about it also, where it's like the gaming industry almost doesn't want to believe that COVID happened, a little less than the film industry, film and TV, but it's
Mhm.
still there where it's like you've laid off all these people.
Right.
You've had crunch to produce these games that take a long time to make. And the industry, I don't think it's gonna crumble, but it's just at a slower pace than it used to be. And it's like we haven't really gotten any games for this generation of consoles.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
mean, you can't keep I love The Last of Us Part 2, but you can't keep remaking that thing.
Right.
Agreed. I also think it's a course correction because I do agree
Mhm.
with you that they have not recovered from COVID. Because when COVID, people fail to realize when COVID happened, you had a lot of non-video gamers that jumped into video games. That's why
Right,
the Switch sold like hotcakes. That's why you couldn't find a PlayStation. People buying X because people stuck at the house. But these
right.
are people that normally wouldn't give a shit. They just would not care. Outside open back up. They went outside and the bitch is not coming back. So all this money y'all invested in them MMOs and them and the games where you nickel and dime people to death, them people went outside and they're not coming back. And the industry had to correct themselves because you had non-gamers that were temporary gamers that started being non-gamers again because they really didn't care.
Right.
And so odds of those people buying the next generation is gonna be low because they were non-gamers in the first place, which means they otherwise it's they counted numbers that they were inflated. They put the market around these inflated numbers, and then it went back to like your average video gamer. The people you always gonna have people that's gonna buy the NBA games, the soccer games, but that number got inflated because people were stuck in the house. And I think that this is the laying off and the slowing down is a form of a course correction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think also this is the business model of everything now is that people over invest and it invests negatively. Like there's these you take over the business. This happens with movie studios too. You take over the business, and then it's okay to go into a loss for a long time. I don't know why that became the business model, but it's like, yeah, we'll just go into a loss. We'll start a streaming service. We'll go into a loss. And you're like, what? And it's like, yeah, we'll invest millions and millions of dollars into these fucking shows. We'll buy up every fucking thing we can. And then of course, it eventually you have to make a profit, and changing the business model from we were giving you streaming for 2 cents to $37, it just is so jarring for people. It's no way to make money. And then the fucking CEOs have to quit the second where they're like, we're going to Hulu's going up in price again. It's like, oh, and the CEO stepping down. Like, right, because that shit doesn't work. I can't live like that. That's like me getting a credit card and putting everything on credit for like a year. And it's just, and then just when it comes like fucking tax time or the rent's due next year, I'm just being like, oh shit, I gotta get a job. That's how a lot of these services feel, and gaming is no different. A lot of this stuff was just investing bucket loads into buying companies. They would just,
Mm-hmm.
oh, we bought Activision. It's like, yeah, that means it costs money, and you bought it for more. Because you have to. You bought it for more than it's worth. You bought it for what you hope it will be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So eventually, you can't give Call of Duty away for free. You're going to have to charge everybody out the wazoo for that shit, because guess how they were making money? Charging everybody $70, $100 and some dollars for this game. Your business model can't be we'll give it for free. But every company in the Silicon Valley era, they have the same model, which is this idea of absorbing the amount of market share, the biggest amount of market share you can get. and then you exploit the users once they become like, dependent on your product.
Mm-hmm.
But it just don't work. Everybody can't be dependent on every product. So if HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, and Stars all have apps and they all use the same model and they all expect me to pay out for it, eventually I'm just gonna be like, well, I'll go with like HBO maybe, but I'm not paying for all this shit. That's crazy.
Right.
Agreed, and I've always said this. I remember when they first started branching off. I always said it didn't make sense. I always said like we should have just had Netflix, and Netflix was like, "I see y'all came back home to daddy," because when they started branching off, I was like, I got angry initially because I was like, I don't know what the fuck is on Paramount. Not trying to make fun. Like when I go in, I want to press play. Unless you kind of like in the movie industry, like not trying to funny. Know that the average person, when all them names pop up, most people don't give a fuck about that shit. They don't know who made it, who's behind it, who collaborated with who. They don't know any of that stuff. So it was already confusing to the consumers in the first place. So when you do a Paramount app and they looking for something that's not Paramount and it doesn't pop up, they're gonna get angry at the app and they're gonna say something's wrong with the
You
app.
could do a game show called Guess Which App, guess which service, and just be, like it just name some shit like Bosch, and it's like, what app is that on? And like, Amazon,
Views.
is it Peacock Plus? Like, no, it's on such a like.
It's on Lifetime TV. What? I get over
there. Yeah, and eventually the answer's gonna all be Netflix again because everybody's just selling their shit back to Netflix like it should have been in the first place.
Right.
So it's all going back. But yeah, gaming. I have been gaming. I'm sure I'll talk about it in detail on the Nerd Off. But you been playing anything recently, or you just Last of Us out?
No, I haven't. I've only played The Last of Us when it came out. I've played a couple of those runs that you can do, which are fun. But I eventually would like to go back and play part 2 again. But I've been playing the college football 25. I'm in the national championship game versus Ohio State. I'm playing Colorado because of Coach Prime, obviously. And
are you lying to your kids? Like I heard you can lie to your kids in that game.
I haven't gone that in depth with the game, but I just love Travis Hunter because I was a big Deion Sanders fan when I was a kid, and I think he revolutionized that cornerback position. And I love this Travis Hunter guy, wide out. He had a hell of a game last night in real life against Colorado State. But like, I just think that's fun, and I just want to win a national championship with them. And then I'll like maybe try to go in depth with another school.
So you do like I do. You kind of play not simulation, but like play through a season as the team.
Yeah.
That's what I do too. I feel like we're old school players because
most people don't play like
now everything is an RPG. Like
yes,
I remember when I found out my friends in NBA 2K were doing the like you make a player and then you take them from like Rutger Park to the league or whatever, and I'm just like, I have no interest in that. Like and that's how they make their money for the regular. So I'm the weirdo.
Yeah.
Everybody else
is make their money.
Everybody else is paying for motherfucking they're paying for the coins that come into the game system so they can buy like a fresh pair of Jordans or upgrade their house. And I'm not doing that shit. I'm just trying to be like, what if the Hornets were healthy? That's that's what I would like to. That's the fantasy that I'll never get to live in real life. Is what if my team didn't fucking ankles explode in November and we actually could complete a whole season and LaMelo was alive?
Right.
That's what I do. So I've been enjoying that, but I feel like at some point we all turned into the worst part of fandom. And I'm not just sports, it's everything. Video games, sports, movies and TV. We are the worst part of it. Like that used to be playing a game like you're playing it. That's the best part of sports to me. Like I watch games, I'm not thinking about anything else. The worst part of sports is like needing to know what the salary cap is.
Yeah. I don't that's not my thing. Like
I've never watched Steph Curry hit a 3 and went, now that's worth about $47 million. Not once. I just like, God damn, he's good.
Yeah, that's all I like. I mean, I've always just like I like to have the real players in the game. Like, yeah, why I just want to be LaMelo Ball.
Right.
I just want to control him and have fun playing with the players that I like. They're great enough. But
Right.
I think it's kind of it's become a nerd culture like in and of itself where it's like basketball's cool and I'm cool. So I'm gonna play Dungeons and Dragons with
Hey,
basketball.
hey, hey, Chris, I also think, and maybe I might be wrong, I also think a lot of people's online interactions have moved into the video game realm. A lot of the arguing about Michael Jordan's the best, a lot of that stuff has moved into this because right talking about that fandom, a lot of times fans can be so unrealistic, and I think that all those unrealistic expectations have moved over. Well, I could do it better. Let me create my own player. Let me build my own team. Let me do it the way I want to do it because I know better as a fan than these people who have actually studied and been in the game for like fuck what they doing.
Yeah.
Let me, and I think that's how they draw people in, and like Rice said, that's how most people play. And the thing is either the time or money. And nigga, I'm not 18 and 12. So unless you got unlimited amount of time, which most adults don't, they're gonna spend money to compensate for them hours of grinding to get your player to that point.
Well, I mean, that also just didn't used to be a thing. Like you
Agreed.
Right.
used to couldn't buy the game and be like, I'm gonna make Rod Morrow the high school kid and I'm gonna take him to the pros. That used to just not be a feature. Now it's the main feature of those games. Also, the other part of it, not that I don't find that to be as egregious as managing a team, but managing a team or being a coach or the AD of a college team just feels icky to me because those are the people we hate. Like
Yeah.
those of us that watch the sport for the most part, it's like the shit that they do to those kids is fucked up. Like,
Right.
you know, even like even liking Dion as a personality and shit. Like sometimes he'll just say something that's such a coach thing to say where you're like, ugh. You know,
Yo,
he's like, I want my linemen from two parent families and my skill
yeah.
position parent kids. They need to have just a baby mama that's getting dogged out by her man because that make them faster. And I'll be like, God damn, Dion, like
That's
that's not
locker
my
room
dream.
talk, Dion.
Right. Those
That's not
these are
even
not
what
the
you're
things that
saying
I'm
on
looking for.
mic.
I've never seen the load up screen for NCAA and thought to myself, I can't wait to recruit a kid from a single parent family and lie to him and say he's gonna start. But
Right.
really, I'm gonna keep starting my son at quarterback and see if this motherfucker will transfer.
That's
Do
why the
you
coaches aren't in the game. That's why they're not in the game
Right.
in
that's true.
college
That's
But that
football.
makes you the coach. That makes you the
Yeah,
lying asshole. My dream is
makes
to
you a
be
piece
a
of shit.
lying piece of shit. I'm gonna go to this kid's house in fucking Memphis and I'm gonna do the motherfucking the soldier boy dance with his ass so I can get him to come here and then I'm gonna bench his motherfucking ass and be like, you better not transfer.
It's just like I've said this for years. Once you understand what the matrix is, once you realize that the emperor has no clothes, it's just like how complicit do you want to be in this whole thing? It's
But
like
this
when
goes
I was on your show on Bomani's show, you and Bomani's show, where it's like we're all complicit. We love this thing. This is our narcotic. This is what we like, and we it's just a part of the fabric of our culture. Like we try to act like we're better than those people in Europe, those soccer fans. I mean, we've killed people in front of baseball parks before. I mean,
Right.
it's just those kids, those men are gladiators, and that's what we like. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I have paid my tithes to the NFL
mm-hmm.
with the Sunday ticket. Even my time,
Right.
my money for 2K to basketball's not as well the NCAA well basketball's got his shit too, but I think
Right.
we're all complicit in it, and it's just how
Agreed.
much do we want to
Agreed. This
Be
is
complicit.
go along with it.
And not only how much do we want to be complicit in it, I think that me and Roger kind of talked about this I don't know if we talked about it on or off mic, but we talked about how, particularly when it comes to the NFL, when people started getting their time back, when they stopped watching for whatever reason, they came to the understanding of, oh, I got this time back. And the thing is, a lot of them get angry and look at other people. Well, why can't you stop? It's like, well, nigga, you was on a drug too, and but now since you clean now, you want to judge the other people that's still on and act like it's something wrong with them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was like we were all snorting together.
Yes,
but now since you to think you somebody, you think you better.
Yeah, that's how I be looking at JL Covan and Randolph. I'll be like, oh, you don't want to hang with old Eddie King.
Oh,
right.
I listened to JL when he was on.
I wish. Go ahead.
What did he either it was either your pod or like Rain on Your parade when like he was like
about the NFL.
About the NFL. Yeah. I was like, you can't be. He's like, yeah, I watched the Super Bowl and
right.
Right. Well, my favorite thing, because I texted him after that episode. My favorite thing was that he was like, what they could do to get people back, and I can't say everybody, but definitely me. What they could do is at least apologize to Kaepernick. And so, I wrote this long ass thing for Game Theory about the NFL and social justice and stuff. And so I said, yeah, they already did that. Like Roger Goodell already apologized.
Just admit you're not coming back, and that's.
But Karen's trying to get. Yeah, JL, just admit it, motherfucker. Listen, yes. I'm texting my friend JL Covan, who I talked to as a friend, and I said, yeah, I don't know if you know, but Roger Goodell, he did apologize. I don't think the whole NFL, the owners are never going to collectively admit anything, partially because of the lawsuit.
Right.
But I was like, I just don't think people are coming back, because once you get your Sunday back and you realize this shit don't really have to run you, you can make it whatever reason it was. I'm sure there's people that quit because of just the criminality, or there's people that quit because of domestic violence, and people thought they were fucking weird at the time. And people kept watching even though they were like, doing whatever. I remember people that love dogs quitting because of Vic, and we fucking mocked them. None of us were out here being all sensitive, and we were like, you fucking bitch. They fucking do all kinds. So like everyone has their different lines.
Agreed.
And I just think that's what's really driving a lot of it. But I just think even as fans of the sport, there's so much fandom that is now like being a shareholder. This happens with movies too.
Yeah.
I hate talking movies with most people too, because the vast majority of the conversation becomes about like how much was the budget, how much was the box office, will there be a sequel, do there need to be a shared universe? Like it's everybody's just, can we franchise this thing? And even the stuff that started that was supposed to be a cultural shift, that was a commentary on the mass media conglomerate, like capitalism of like Marvel and stuff. Even that stuff, like The Boys, it turned into it. Like The Boys now has 3 or 4 spinoffs. Like, so then Marvel, right? So like this is what DC and Marvel were doing. John Wick, like this motherfucker like died in the last one. They're like, yeah, so John Wick 5's happening, Keanu's coming back. I'm like, my motherfuckers don't give a fuck. Well, that money is real, and I mean it's a job. Get the job, get the money. But like, I feel like everybody's done that. Like, I don't want to talk to someone who's giving me their point of view on the Marvels as like the head of Disney Studios. I want to talk to you as like, did you like the movie?
Right. How did it make you feel? What emotions did you have? We can laugh at lines. Like, that's kind of, I'm like, right, that's kind of how I talk about movies. This is why I like talking to like Chris. Chris know more than me. He can know the technical terms, but you get the gist of the emotions that I'm feeling when we can have like that type of a conversation.
Now, in this NCAA game, do your players do crimes between games? Because like, you play with Georgia. Do they like
that aspect? I hope not. I know some of them. I think it was like they'll have like, oh, your friend will be like, I think if you're playing like the Road to Glory if you're just a guy and then like somebody will text you like, hey, my girlfriend broke up with me, can you hang out with me and can you go to this party with me so you can get her off my mind, and you could choose whether to go to the party or go study, something like that. Like that's in depth, but I haven't done that. I kind of tried to recruit, but I'm just like, I just want to play a season and win the championship. So I don't really, I haven't done that.
That would be crazy if they added crazy shit in there. Like, and by the way, could you bring my gun down to the car?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that would be too much.
You know, and it's like, damn. Hey man, how many drinks you want to have before we hop in the ride, or do you want to take an Uber? You know, like let's make this real as possible.
Yeah, because you get in trouble. But it's. I just think you guys are right. I mean, it's just like, how much do we want to be like Mario Winans? Like, I don't want to know. Like, I didn't want to know about what Patrick Mahomes' wife felt about Trump.
I didn't even ask you.
I was fine when Patrick said Black Lives Matter. He said Black Lives Matter. Okay, he's still the greatest. He's the greatest quarterback.
Said, I'm a black quarterback, and it means a lot that I'm in the Super Bowl playing another black quarterback. I said, okay, all right. Yeah. I see his black ass daddy. You know, I'm like, pretty. And then
of course, talking about that on stage.
Why do we ever have to pick about a side as long as it's how you treat people? I don't care what your politics is. Like, you mean the politics of the people that are like, Haitians eat dogs, let's send some bomb threats to their hospital. Yeah. That's how you treat people, Patrick? Is that what we're saying?
It's like, God damn it. Did you have to? Why'd you ask them that?
I always say, man, people, and this happened a lot during the pandemic. People are like, I need celebrities to speak up. And I say, I don't.
Me either. I've always said that.
And in addition to I don't, I only want the ones to speak up that I agree with.
Right.
Like I'm even more realistic. It's not even just I prefer them to none of them to speak. But if they were going to speak, they better be on what the fuck I'm talking about, or fuck them.
But I was happy to see that Caitlin Clark liked Taylor Swift's post about endorsing Kamala. Like because Caitlin, she is just like an NFL quarterback with the mental judo that she can do. She is so good. She is so good at it.
The thing with Caitlin that's fucked up though is the way people move the goalpost on her. Sure. So that black people, it's not white people. So they keep hating. Like that's like I don't like there's been too many things that they've said she need to do that she did, and then they would move it to something else. So like the first one was, of course, like she needs to say something about these other players and all this shit. So she starts being like, yeah, this player on this team, even Angel Reese, like she's good, and this is what I like about her, and I can't wait to play with her in the All-Star game.
Right.
All this shit, and then they move it again. Like, no, that's not enough. She need to come out and say something about these people on social media to be saying racist shit. They ask her about that. She says, yeah, that if they're doing that shit, that's not. I don't agree with that, and they shouldn't be doing that. I respect this league. I chose this league. Blah blah blah. Right. And then people are like, well, she didn't say. She need to say it again. It's like them racist motherfuckers don't give a fuck what this bitch talking about.
Right.
And then they get to the Kamala thing where she clearly likes an endorsement of a candidate. Mm-hmm. They ask her about it in an interview, like, so do you endorse Kamala Harris? And she's like, I think people should vote. I think it's important for that. Well, she didn't endorse Kamala. Nigga, we're not demanding anyone to endorse a candidate. Name one other person that has endorsed a candidate that's an athlete. Name them that's currently playing. Who else has endorsed a candidate? Even Patrick Mahomes didn't endorse Trump. None of these niggas endorse motherfuckers in a climate where they're literally calling in bomb threats to places based off of political affiliation. So, like, let's say she endorses Kamala and then a bomb threat gets called into the next Fever game. Then it's going to be like, this bitch is letting them get bomb threats. Like, there's these weird fucking goalpost moves, and that's the part I don't like because I like the game. I actually watch WNBA games. I don't know what they're doing with the schedule. Why are there 6 games down on NFL Sunday? That's crazy. But I like the games, but I feel like that's the least amount of people that are interested. The more people are more interested in Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark and black versus white. And of course, I'm not even addressing the vile, racist white people who have
Yeah.
only glommed onto this for the race war aspect. Because I think anyone listening to the sound of my voice on this podcast knows how I feel about those pieces of shit. So it really shouldn't even, I think they should not get to run the conversation the way they have been running the conversation, because everyone keeps elevating these assholes. Dave Portnoy and the people at Outkick Sports, those motherfuckers do not get to tell us how to fucking absorb this league. And right
Right.
now, I feel like they played a lot of us. They dominated the conversation because we know they're not here for the league. And deep down, if we're being honest, we know they're not here for Caitlin Clark. Because if they know anything about her, they'd be like, well, she don't want this kind of attention.
Right.
She's not coveting this. This is not even part of her brand. If
Not
anything,
part of personality.
it's fucking her brand up what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the reason they got mad at her on Instagram for liking that shit. Cause they're just racist. They don't like her.
Yeah.
They don't know nothing about her. So they're just like, how can you like this post? I thought you were cool. You thought I was a white supremacist, bitch? I've never done anything that should make you think that. You are just a white supremacist and you're trying to extrapolate onto me. And so I feel like that's what we're witnessing unfold.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, everybody forgets this motherfucker's a basketball player first and foremost. They're not a politician. They're not a fucking activist.
Right.
They're not gonna have the perfect speech at 22 years old that will fix everything for everybody. It really wouldn't matter at the end of the day. That's the most mature thing I think she realized. It really doesn't fucking matter at the end of the day. These people are using the idea of her more than they're actually interested in her or the sport. And the second she became not useful for them, they just turned on her. So, and that was always going to happen. So you just got to keep your head down and try to, I don't know, be good at basketball on the hardest league on the fucking planet for women. That seems like a Herculean task in itself. And I don't know if anyone's noticed, she's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah,
she's doing really well. And you got to think she hasn't really, only time she really got rest, Angel Reese included. Yeah. First, they beat the U.S. national team in that All-Star game.
Yep.
Then they, after not really having any rest, and so since they didn't get any rest, they practiced. They got to practice, they got rest, and now she's hooping. Angel Reese included before she got hurt. Yep. So I think these people are just unfortunately using Caitlin Clark as an avatar to what they want her to be. And when that avatar shows some sentience, then they're like, what the fuck? It's not what I wanted. It's just like, man, I just saw this an early screening of Transformers 1.
I heard it was.
Can't wait.
Buckle your fucking seatbelts.
Let's go.
I'm ready.
Let's go.
Yeah. Everybody that have said it's really good.
I was not expecting it, but that's besides the point. But it sucks. But I really like the way that she's handling it. And the women in the WNBA, I have a subscription to the League Pass also. And those women have been at the forefront before the men when it comes to a lot of these social justice issues. And you gotta have, Pablo Torre did a great piece on episode on his podcast about Caitlin Clark and this journalist who follows her to kind of, because almost like she kind of comes across as one of those like NFL quarterbacks, not as enigmatic as Russell Wilson would be if they, they try to, figure out who he is and stuff, but just like knowing how to communicate and talk to the press. That was really good. But her favorite player growing up was Maya Moore, who was an activist who left her career to help someone.
Well, that's the other thing I'll say too. I don't think the WNBA will ever have a star player that is truly like on some Mahomes shit. Like where they're just like, well, listen, man, both sides, you just got to let people be. You're never going to truly have that because the WNBA culture won't allow it. Like it just, the culture is too strong and left leaning for the biggest star in there to be like, listen, sometimes I'm MAGA, sometimes I'm Kamala, like that shit's not going to happen. So I'm not worried about it. And then obviously her being 22 is just a huge part of this that people keep erasing because everyone just expects these motherfuckers to be like a finished product and be like steeped in race theory and shit, and we're 45, we're 50,
Yeah.
you had such a long fucking time to come to these realizations, and most of us didn't have enough of them at that age. And I say that as a person that was pretty fucking ahead of my time compared to almost all of my peers, like in many different areas, whether it be emotionally, activism ideas and social justice ideas. I know, because it was weird for me to feel those ways. Like I was the weirdo being like, yeah, man, but should we be calling people the F word? That doesn't seem right. What the fuck
Yeah.
you saying F word? Like that shit
Yeah.
was normal. And now everybody's like, since motherfuckers got Twitter 10 years ago, everybody's like, weren't we always understanding that the word such and such was wrong or whatever? I'm like, we weren't. And it's
No.
fake as fuck that we're all acting like it. So hopefully, hopefully good people will continue to develop and evolve and get more outspoken, because that's what happened for most of us.
Right.
There's a period of your life where you go along to get along, or you hope like, I'm on this shit, you're on that shit. Hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully you're not too different than me. You seem like a good person. And then at some point you wake up and you go, what the fuck this nigga talking about? Nah, they a terrible person. And I think, hopefully she'll have that realization, and many others too, 'cause especially these people that come out of whiteness where their fucking family members are half conservative. That's something I never had to deal with. My 90% of my family is Democrat or liberal leaning. So, we all just have like the one weird aunt where you're like, I don't know why she vote Republican, but
Yeah.
it would be totally different. I'm sure if I grew up in a family where like 70% of them were conservative, I'd have a different mental struggle to divorce myself from what they taught me, and from the fact that they're not good people despite these motherfuckers changed my diapers and fed me. Some part of me has to accept, like, but that doesn't make them a good person. And so I've never had to go through that head trip. Karen, you were gonna say something?
Agreed. And it's also, we talking about Caitlin Clark, also Angel Reese. I think about her too. And the same thing you said about Caitlin Clark is said about Angel Reese. There's a lot of black people that are only promoting her for blackness. They don't care about her. They don't care about the game. They don't care about anything else. And same thing with the white folks. The second she comes out here and says anything they don't agree with, a lot of them people will turn.
I hope they give
on both
her
extremes.
I hope they give her room and some grace, because she's also a young woman,
right.
a young black woman in this case, who's been dealing with a lot of resentment and racial bullshit. And she's also very online as opposed to Caitlin Clark.
Right.
Which, y'all know how I feel about being very online like that, especially at a young age. There's just so much to navigate, and it starts feeling like reality. And most importantly, she's starting her own podcast. She's starting her own media ventures. That's when the shit really turns. Like, it's not when you're playing basketball and just being like, hey man, I don't appreciate the racism and shit I got to deal with. Everyone can agree on that for the most part on our side. It's when you start giving opinions, when you start saying stuff that these motherfuckers fight about online all the time, and you're not on the right side of it. And I worry about her being so online, with so much online back and forth and comments, and she responds to a lot of them, or she gets triggered by a lot of them. I worry about what happens the day that your black support turns on you because you did something they didn't like.
Right.
You
And they will do it.
Absolutely. I mean, I like I said, I try to be a little bit more empathic than most people. So like, there's people that I call my problematic phase, but it's not. I just like those people, and I just never expected them to be always on topic and always on the perfect thing. I like Monique. Monique has said some reckless shit, but I like Monique. I like the idea of Monique. I see her on screen, I start smiling. I feel like I know Monique's in my life. You know what I mean? Same thing for Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg says some horrendous shit at times. But I have aunts that have said some horrendous shit, and I laughed my ass off, and I was like, yeah, but we can't be calling Mexicans that, you know what I mean, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And like, that's just like part of life, but you love those people even though they're not always right.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people let that shit go online, where you either have to always be right or you're the fucking like worst person ever.
Right.
Or they gotta like get you together. And so I always worry about that stan culture bullshit, especially with young black women, because it's not healthy what we're doing to people, and then you watch them crash out, like Summer Walker or like Lizzo or some of these people. You watch them crash out, and then it's like people just throw these motherfuckers in the trash. Like it's not a
Yeah.
good thing.
Right.
It's a hard thing to balance, like when you're playing the game and talking about it, like a Draymond Green, when you're where he's very problematic.
Mhm.
Where you just you lose a game, then you talk about it on your podcast. It's just everybody's trying to get into that space now because it's so lucrative, and it's just I as a person who observes it, to me it just feels better that if I was a former athlete, I would just wait till I would just do the podcast after I got done playing.
Right.
But
Right.
and then talk about like how Jeff Teague does it, Gilbert Arenas and them, but you can't tell nobody what to do.
Also,
So
I mean, these guys are actually aspiring to become legacy media people, even though
mhm,
they lie to themselves and to us and say it's just an angle of promotion. They're like, this is new media. This ain't like the old. We gonna be
yeah,
different. And then you get on your podcast and you do your best imitation of Charles Barkley, and I'm like, nigga, this is
right,
just a way for you to get on TNT. That's all
yeah,
this is. This is a way to get on TNT without having to apply, to interview, to go through all the screen
yeah,
tests. You just do it on your podcast, and then you get up there. And in Draymond's case, he got up there and tanked. Like, he was bad as fuck on TV because it is a skill set and a muscle that you have to respect in order
mhm,
to do it well. It's like if someone told you, like, man, acting ain't nothing but reading words off a page. It's like, yeah, okay, motherfucker, I can't wait.
Right.
I can't
mhm,
wait to audition for something. Cause I want to see it. Cause I did have to learn these things. I did go to take classes. I did go to school.
Right.
You can't just hop on there unless you're some type of fucking savant, and you not having any respect for it gives away the game. Cause you're gonna get up there and they're gonna be like, all right, in this scene, your mother is sick, and you're going into the room, and they think she's about to pass, and you have to tell her that secretly you're the one that stole the money from the life insurance. All right, go ahead. And that motherfucker gonna flop because it's like, what? I didn't. I was ready to do some laughing or make some clever
yeah,
lines. That's what happens with these niggas when they get on TV, and you like
mhm,
Patrick Beverly. You're like, bro, you're terrible at this
Mm-hmm.
because
yeah,
you can't just go on your podcast and being like, Steph Curry ain't even that good. Sure,
yeah,
that's funny and it'll go viral on Twitter. If you say that shit in front of Shaq, now you're just an asshole. Like,
right,
no one
right.
want to hear that shit.
Everybody
What about
wants they don't understand that there's a craft to everything, and it's just a lack
Right.
of respect that a lot of this stuff is hard. Like
Mm-hmm.
being a podcaster is hard, acting's hard, comedy's hard, being in any type of skill set, it's hard. It's not just it everybody thinks that they can do it, but it's just
Yeah.
it's different. It's
especially if
I
you're gonna
just
be good. If you're gonna be
Yeah.
right,
good,
right. If you
it's
want to be
gonna be
good,
hard. If you
it
just want
takes
to be there,
Yeah.
yeah, sure, anyone can be there, but that don't make you
mhm,
good, nigga. Carry on.
And,
yeah,
and, and it don't and you're right, Chris, is actually a craft because like right time of acting, yeah, when you get in the rooms they start using all types of technical terms and acting that the average person might not know, with the assumption that you already know what they're talking
yeah,
about. You're gonna look crazy when they start throwing out all these big words. And even with podcasting, I did not realize this. I think Justin or some I think it was Justin told me, and I did not realize this because I'm just being me. He was like, "Karen, you have an on switch." I said, "What do you mean? I got an on switch?" He said, "You literally have like an on switch." He was like, "Yeah, you're still yourself," but he said it's something that kind of happens when it's time to like record, where you
yeah,
kind of where it's like it's not a large shift, but it's a shift. The same thing in acting. It's a shift. Yes, you're still yourself. Yes, you're still there, but it's a shift that kind of puts your mind where you need to be at that time.
Do you have a Shake Shack in Jersey?
of course we do. Yeah. Why? Is there
I just read that they're giving away free chicken sandwiches every Sunday throughout the football season.
I didn't know
oh,
that.
I haven't had their chicken sandwiches before. They're all right.
Okay, all right. Just letting everybody know. Okay, this is
I have them in
you
North
got
Carolina.
to place a minimum. Now, I don't think we. I don't. I think we have one
Mine.
up the street from me.
Mm-hmm.
You have to place a minimum order of $10.
Okay. Like
and
that
he
that shift. It's about a
yeah.
craft. What about Shake Shack, Chris?
What about Shake Shack? How speaking of which, how's the dating life going, man? How's it treating you?
Well, I was dating somebody for a most of the year, and we broke up, and she's a black woman, and
Mm,
I still care for her.
mhm.
Yeah, it's just it's been eye opening in a lot of ways, just meeting different types of women, and a lot of them are cool, but I kind of know what I want and what I don't want. And
Right.
that's been really, because sometimes you think as a guy, it's like, well, I just want her to love me. And then it's like, yeah, but she's got to bring something to the table too. Like there
Right.
has to be reciprocity. You guys know about that.
Right.
You've been married
Mhm.
for a long time. So it's just like a reciprocity thing. And they and the most that I've dated have been pretty decent people,
Mm.
except for one. But yeah, overall it's been interesting. I've learned a lot about myself that I can be.
That's good.
Yeah, I learned a lot about myself where it just like on the positive side, it's just like, oh, I can be really sweet to a woman. I can make myself vulnerable and open up and be compassionate and like care about somebody outside of myself. So I think that's what I'm searching for, and I think that's more like I think I just kind of want peace with my a partner, where it's not
Yeah,
always easy,
yeah.
but
I was gonna
like,
say, you know what
but
I think weird is when people do this a lot, where like some, especially against men, where like a man is with somebody, um, they are together for a while or whatever, they learn a lot about themselves, blah blah blah. Somehow the relationship doesn't work out. They move on to this next person with this new knowledge that they didn't have before,
Right.
and it starts working out. And then people are like, "This, see, that's what'll happen. See, they learn with you, but then they marry someone else or whatever." And I'm always kind of like, "Isn't that everybody though? Like,
yeah,
isn't that life? Like, aren't you
Mm-hmm.
always supposed to be learning some shit? And
Right.
whether
yeah,
it works out with you and that person or not, that's like being mad at me for getting a new job and taking the skills I got at the old job to be better at the new job. Like, nigga, I'm always taking this with me. I don't know what to tell you. So
yeah,
get
right.
on or get off, but it's coming with me."
Yeah, I think the key is like because I've met some really cool women, like sweet women.
Mhm.
I think sometimes I don't want to be like those kids that were on Schultz's show.
Sometimes, see, black women, see,
See,
let me say it, Chris.
They are the issue.
You see, double slaves. Y'all some double slaves. Okay. You see,
oh my god,
white women be like this. Hey honey, how was work today? Can I suck your dick? Here's a martini. But black women, you come home to a black woman, they put the gun to your head and be like, break yourself, fool. Because you know they're aggressive like that, Chris. You ain't got to say it. I'm just
yeah,
saying.
yeah. How do I want
I
to say?
got you covered.
I'm just gonna say because the goal for me is to do the same. Like I love black women. I've been nurtured by black women. I've been hurt by black women, but I'm not gonna intentionally try to hurt somebody just because
Right.
I've been hurt in the past,
Right.
and then try to put that. It's just like that music Soul Child song that Eric Roberson wrote, Previous Cats.
Yeah.
I'm not to blame for the pain that was caused by previous cats.
Right.
And so you try to, and then like even in those women that have hurt me, I'm not gonna try to put that on
Right.
the other women that I see. So it's that, and just in life where it's like the hurt people thing, but like
Right.
I'm trying, like I think they put up a lot of walls and boundaries
Mhm.
because of what has happened. This is from my experience. There's
Mhm.
been some women,
Right.
not all,
Mhm.
some who have been hurt. They will build up these walls, and then when you're trying to get to know them, they're like, "Well, this last guy did this thing to me, so because
Right.
this guy did it, I'm gonna hold up this stuff against you." And and I actually did talk about it on stage where like where after the breakup, you kind of find certain things where sometimes a woman can be more revealing, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that, because here I was trying to be open and honest to you, and then you throw me this curveball that makes me feel like Weebay in that meme where it's like, oh my god, this like, Sixth Sense revelation where it's like, oh, you were doing that when I was doing this, when I thought that I was being open and honest, you were still holding back.
Right. I think
So
it's interesting too though, because like we are all like the sum of our traumas and our experience.
yeah,
A lot of that stuff is so visceral that it's not really a thought out thing. You know, it's like a thing you have to work yourself backwards from,
Yes,
you know,
yeah,
where it's like, Chris didn't call me back last night. He must be cheating. It's like, oh, okay. Well, I was busy and I had to do this and I fell asleep. My phone was charged. That's what the other nigga said. When then he showed up with
yeah,
a motherfucking family. And so
right,
I definitely understand like that shit has to be triggering and it takes a long time to trust. And then I think also people date before knowing if they can, like, we're hopeful. We're dating. We're also being optimistic about who our best selves are when we're dating, right? So you're dating hoping that this trauma won't rear its head again, or I'll have a better reaction to it if it happens again. And people can unintentionally step on a landmine they just don't fucking know about.
Agreed.
And
right,
a lot of times, even in friendships, all types of relationships, that's when to me, that's when the relationship starts. It doesn't really start with the nice shit. Like that's cool, but a lot of people, it's like being a coworker. A lot of people can fucking work together. It's when the motherfucker comes in a MAGA shirt that you're like, now this is the start of who the fuck you really are, right? And not that it
yeah,
has to be extreme, but just there's moments in life where you're like, oh, this is another part of relationship, conflict resolution.
mm-hmm.
How are you with that? And there's different
Yeah,
styles of that. There's certain conflict resolution I can't handle. I can't handle silent treatment people. I can't handle the people that shun people. I can't handle people that take shit public and try to rally people against you and then come back with like they got leverage. Those are like deal breakers for me. And so I can see how other people just have different deal breakers or whatever. But yeah, it does suck when you're getting to know somebody and something like that happens and it's
yeah,
like a roadblock. And it's accepting that it's not necessarily your fault or responsibility
right,
to push them past a roadblock. Like they either have to push past it themselves or you have to like step back, because I think forcing someone through something like that can just be a different type of trauma for them. So yeah, that does suck. And then of course everyone has their own story on their
right,
side of this shit. It's like, you know, if you go on Facebook and you see everybody's post about their ex, everybody was right, nigga. Nobody is ever the ex that fucked up. Everybody's the ex that was right
yeah,
and the other person
yeah,
fucked up. That doesn't make sense. So like, I'm sure they got headcanon of like some reason that it doesn't work. But yeah, I feel you. It's very tough. And just like
yeah.
audition parts, most of dating is gonna be rejection.
Yes, it
It's the
is.
same. Yeah, it's the same thing, and it's just like with this last woman who I've hung out with recently after the breakup. It's like, you're still a dope fucking person. Wish this
Right.
would have worked, but it's something that it. Yeah, I think she's a sweetheart, and that's all I'll say.
Well, speaking of that, I think we should do some gender wars right now. Okay,
Oh
Let's
shit!
sit now.
it's been a second, but let's do it.
There's a war going on outside. Gender war. There's a war going on outside. Gender war.
Gender wars, where we go and find different clips from the internet of different topics about gender, and we rate them from 0 to 10 on how good the content is to start a controversy online. We're not necessarily saying whether we agree or disagree with these people, but just, is this the kind of content that's gonna go viral, gonna start the fights online? Today's contestants are two darlings of social media and the podcasting game that taught us a lot about how black masculinity doesn't have to be toxic. until today, it's shits and giggles. They went on the Andrew Schultz podcast. Now, Andrew Schultz is a white comedian that I know through Charlemagne introducing him to the world. And he's he's like one of those edgy throwback, black people do this, white people do that type of comedian, like a lot of stereotypes and stuff. Has a big fan base, big following. Feels like the kind of white dude that says the N-word, that kind of dude. And so they went on his show. Now, Shits and Gigs, they more of a like positive, supportive, breaking stereotypes brothers. They the ones that like, it's like talking about being there for and supporting each other, or bigging up in your man, like, hey man, you looking good today, man. That outfit you was wearing, and so people would share those clips, and especially a lot of black women, because they're two attractive 33-year-old guys. A lot of them like them, as far as like feeling like they're better and different than the vast majority of podcasters you see talk about this stuff that go viral. A lot of those brothers are just so hard on women that these guys are like a breath of fresh air. I'm not saying they're perfect. I don't think they read the feminist text or no shit like that. I'm just saying, compared to like Kevin Samuels,
right?
People are like, oh, this is nice. This is cool. So they went on his show, Andrew Schultz show, which I don't think, I don't know who booked this, but maybe not a good idea. So here we go.
What is the black girlfriend effect?
This you don't know
about
just
glow up the other culture.
Yeah, so you'll see a guy who's had a black girlfriend. All of a sudden, he's got buzz cut, like clean shape up.
Glows up, bro.
I like that.
I like that. They shave their hair because they start losing it. Because they're so stressed being around this black girl complaining about shit all the fucking time. That's why.
Yeah, as you can look at Andrew Schultz, who clearly has not gone to Supercuts to get that. So he must got the black. He probably just got a white girl, but he go to the black barber. Is that what the deal is?
Why they gotta shave their hair?
Nah, bro. White guys with black girlfriends, they
grow a beard because there's more cushion when they get slapped the fuck out of. That's hilarious. I think the black girlfriend effect. It might be a protective instinct, bro.
You think?
Protective.
Yeah. Do you guys have you ever had black girlfriends?
Yeah.
Have you ever had white girls?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. What's your favorite?
What was the oh wow for?
Thinks they wouldn't date him, I guess.
That's weird. Like, you have black girls and y'all have white girls? Yeah. Oh wow. Wow, okay. Wow, that's crazy. Oh, you asked what's their favorite?
We love them all.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
We love them all.
Yeah.
That means white.
That means white.
Hey, let me translation.
Kendrick fans,
We like them all means that means white. That does not mean that.
Yeah, and he does the Kendrick fans get him, because Kendrick fans supposed to be, I guess woke or whatever.
God.
I was gonna say there's also a little bit more, because they say it gets worse. So there's also this clip. Now I don't know if this counts as gender wars though, but I'll play the clip.
So you're Trini,
Yeah.
and the white side is what?
Irish.
Is Irish.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Oh, in today's climate, you're a colonizer right now.
Yeah,
right? But it's really not fair because the Irish got fucked too.
Yeah.
You're double slaved.
Yeah.
It sounds insane. It does sound insane, but it is
mathematically
true.
Mathematically speaking,
taters, there's potato slaves.
Yeah.
Fuck sake. That shit's probably harder to pick than cotton if you pick cotton. So you're tricked.
Yeah, it's not like somebody didn't do their homework, because it's like, it's like who booked them on this show?
Well, he has a lot of listeners.
I think they just wanted to do it because they're that's a big show. Flagrant 2, right?
Something like that. I don't know. I've never listened to the show. I just know that he's a name and he has a big following. Now we have to judge it on the gender wars aspect though.
Okay.
0 to 10. How good do you think that content was to start a gender war?
10.
Oh, 10. And the biggest reason, if we're just talking about not we just that is the top, it's a 10. because you talked about white women, you talked about black women, you compared them, even brought some Irish people in it for no reason. And it's something that's going to get people talking. Just once you put this out there, it's going to hit the ground like wildfire. You're going to have, a lot of dudes saying that this is right, and a lot of women saying this is wrong. Some women even saying that this is right. So, you're kind of going to have fighting all across the board on this one. And that's because this is more designed to be a viral moment.
Right.
They hit all my targets. They were not trying to fun. They were loud. They were wrong.
The white dude who did most of the talking.
Yes. And it was more of, them laughing, which is not always a sign of co-signing, but that's how people take it.
Right.
Because sometimes when some people get in awkward moments, their first response is to laugh, and some people don't understand that. Their first response is like, holy shit, what is happening here? And they'll laugh. They're like, will laugh, but they're not laughing at the moment. They're laughing at how ridiculous the moment is.
Could be, yeah.
But
it also, to me, does say you are afraid to confront that moment.
Agreed.
I always think about that as a podcaster, and when I go on other people's shows, and like I've always said, I'm a bit on the edge or the outside of what the center of masculinity is and the center of majority opinion is. I always think about how I'm carrying our brand with us. I'm carrying my personal integrity with me. And so even when I'm kicking it with people that might delve into some toxic thinking or some gendered stereotypes or something, I still feel an obligation to be like, I know this is funny and you're making a joke, or even if you're serious, but here's why I think something differently. And especially as a funny person, it's a challenge because I think showing that I can be funny but not do the typical bullshit is what makes me funnier and better than those people. It's because it's easy to get out there. Well, black women that shit is like, they've been doing that shit since comic.
It's hack.
Yeah, it's hack.
Very
exactly. Like sometimes people think my sensibilities are caught up in like either pandering or some sort of like social justice, and a lot of times it's not. It's just I think this joke is hack. Like my main problem with the Dave Chappelle specials of late is not being like, man, listen, trans people have it hard. That it's been, bro, everybody be making then he had a dick. Like everyone making that joke. Yeah. You supposed to be the top echelon of greatness. You making a joke I can hear the open mic.
Right.
I know you're better than that. Cause I've seen you be better than that. I know you just believe what people show you or whatever, but it's like I'm like, I've seen you make brilliant jokes that no one thought of. And I'm like, that's why you're the greatest. And then you make a joke for 20 minutes that some nigga in the parking lot could have did. I'm not gonna pretend like that shit was great. This shit to me, Schultz was more hack than offensive. I was like, damn, I can see is that what your comedy is? I'm sure it fills up arenas, but damn, that's some low bar bullshit. But Gender War is a 10 out of 10. Chris?
I was gonna say, I remember doing a podcast when Schultz was a guest a long time ago on Robert Kelly's pod. And I think I think it might have been, they tried to insinuate that Schultz was blacker than me because he like swagger jacked like black comedians and shit.
Right.
Because I was different from him. I just don't think, I just think that shit is hack. And just because like people have like more followers doesn't make them like better than you or a better comedian. Because I don't want to get into too much of his stuff, but I just think sometimes like when you get it the way that we getting it and have been getting it, the success that the three of us have had, it's like you get it out the mud. It's just because you and Karen started doing a podcast, then like 2007, 8?
2010, I think was our first year.
Well, okay, I met you in like online at like, it had to be 2008.
Yeah.
On fucking Google chat.
Right.
And not having the industry like kind of give you a career and then you lie about it and say, oh, I did it on my own, even though you had like some success to get you to a level of being at a place where it's just annoying to me. And I roll my eyes. I've talked about it a lot, where it's just like a lot of these white comics. And I think now people maybe are kind of starting to see it a little more, but I've been talking about it for like 7 or 8 years, where it's like, you kind of plateau and then you say, oh, how I'm not getting these things because of affirmative action or black or diversity or DEI or however they try to dress up. And it's just like, it's like.
And then the other thing I'll say too is, the other reason this is a perfect gender war segment is because any black woman who obviously notices the animosity shown towards him and speaks out on it becomes a confirmation of his point of black women are just so much more aggressive. But it's like, why the fuck would a white woman need to be aggressive? You're sucking their dicks in this fucking clip. Why would any woman that's not a black woman even address this and be upset? Because basically you're saying, aren't black women the fucking worst, man? They're so aggressive. I don't know. If you disrespect people to their face, they're typically aggressive.
Yeah, they're gonna be aggressive.
And it's always so weird when it never counts the history of white women towards black dudes ever. Like we're gonna talk about getting people in trouble, and we just gonna skip over white women. Like, that's crazy to me to be telling me a black woman is more dangerous to my well-being than an average white woman, knowing the history of this motherfucking country and the world. That's an insane thing to say, but this is what goes unchallenged. And I'll say this part too. It makes me lose respect for brothers in that room, because I would never let some white person talk about my sisters that way. Period. Not my face, not unchallenged. I can't change his opinion. I can't make him agree with me, but I can definitely call out his bullshit and be like, nah, bro, we not doing that. And I hate that it's corny for brothers to do that. Like, I'm not pandering if I say, why the fuck are you talking about our women like that? Nigga, you don't come from us. Leave us alone. That to people becomes that's the corny thing. That's the wrong. That's the whack part. Sitting there and kikiing and laughing like a fucking beta cuck in front of this white dude. That apparently is not corny. That was cool. That's fine. Hey, black women be like that. Fuck that. I don't want to bond with you over that.
It's bullshit, and their laughter is acceptance, whether it was nervous or not. That comes, it reads as acceptance. And I wonder if it's because they're from the UK, where it's a different, maybe a little culturally different thing.
For sure.
Where I know there was a TikTok going around about this black woman was talking about how biracial guys. It's not. They posted it with one of those clips you just showed. And you probably saw like what biracial guys. It's different, and they'll go with white women and blah, blah, skip. It was just kind of like. I just look at it as where was I? Okay, yesterday I went to see Transformers 1. And the night before I had gone to see the Usher movie, and I bought like $25 worth of concessions. And I didn't use my Stubbs points. And so I was trying to go to the guest services to get my Stubbs points applied for what I paid for. I was standing waiting for the guest services guy, and I would be next in line. There's this little, I don't know, white, she was some kind of white or not really from here person that she cut in front of me, and the person took her, and I was mad as hell. But I'm not going to I'm 6'2", a black dude, big guy. I'm not going to argue, but it made me mad. And it's just, you get to the point where people, they do not like us. They do not like black people. They don't like us. Yep. I mean, we want to be, everybody wants to be accepted, but overall, you're in a place where people do not like you. And then to have them say that about black women, I'm not trying to pander. It's just, it's like a slap in the face. It just is what it is. And I find comfort in black women. Like the last couple of years, like, my dad died and all that shit, and I've had to do things that take care of my mom and stuff. this black woman, that relationship ended. She was a fucking bright spot.
Right.
Where you deal with all this bullshit that you have to deal with as a person, let alone as a black man, to on a Friday night or the weekend to just go to fucking Cheesecake Factory. I know that's on the list of where we're not supposed to take dates, but if that's what she wants to go, if she was
that's on her list.
I think it's just first date. I think it's just first date.
You know what I'm saying? That's just a joke. But to just be in her presence or on her couch or at my place, it felt fucking good. Right. And for you to just go on and like laugh that shit off, like no, motherfucker. If I
like y'all don't know the camera's recording, y'all don't know this is going out to everybody. That's such a crazy thing to do. And then the other thing I'll say too, a lot of the allowance of the disrespect comes from brothers teaching these white dudes these white dudes essentially emulate these black dudes, because it's not like this. Andrew Schultz didn't grow up black. He glommed on to like the black people he saw and decided that this is the swagger I'm gonna roll with. Like you can look at his features. He's not a black. He didn't grow up in a black house. Maybe he had some black kids on the block, whatever. So even the pale imitation, no pun intended, even the pale imitation of the racialized misogyny is him still imitating the black men he looks up to. And so the cost of one of our biggest cultural exports being a specific type of misogyny, in intra-community misogyny, you know, like these women is hoes and bitches, and if you get offended by that, you must be a bitch or a hoe, you know, that shit. These white dudes grow up listening to the Chronic and hearing those justifications, and what they don't have from in their life is the nurture and the care of black women, and the things that are innate to us, where it's like, yeah, I might make a song and joke about this shit, but also like it's some Dear Mamas songs up in here too, because there's no debt. I can never repay the debt that I owe to black women, and they don't have that because it's all imitation. They only have they hoes and mean bitches, right? You can't even fuck a white girl without them getting mad. Like that's what the fuck they owns. And so to see them niggas sign up there, Coonsigning that shit, it's sad, because like a lot of people really liked them and kind of looked up to them or saw them as something different or better than many of the alternatives. And I'm sure they'll either address it, maybe they'll apologize, or maybe they just won't address it. I mean, they ain't from here. I don't know how much of their fan base is us. So this feels like a very black American issue. Like I don't know that in other countries, if they're even feeling this way. Like I could see them going back home and chalking this up to like, hey, we're not from America, so he said that, and we just took his word at it because we don't really know about dating black girls in America, blah, blah. But it was just a moment of coonery that we saw, and that helped escalate the gender war to a 10 out of 10. I'll do one more
thing. I just want to say, because that kind of stuff gives, like the black guy that's on that podcast with Andrew, that just gives him cover to say that shit, and he knows Charlamagne, and so it just provides him cover, and he thinks it's okay. And
man,
it fills arenas, like you said. You know,
the black co-signers are just the worst. That's the worst job in comedy to me. When you listen to an edgy white comics podcast, and they always got to have a black person on there that they either play ignorant or they are ignorant of a lot of racial topics, and it's so that the white person can go play in the sandbox of racism, and they're just like laughing at it, allowing the shit. They would never have a real nigga on their show like that. Like if the show would, they fire me. I would be fired after an episode where I'm like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, bro, but you know the reason that's that way is because of slavery. And then they'd be like, well, that's not as funny as just being like, why black people got to talk like that or whatever the fuck. Right. So all right, you know what? But we're not. Look, just because we're a very pro outspoken black podcast, that doesn't mean we ourselves don't enjoy some whiteness from time to time. Okay, I know the white people are scared and running off and going to listen to Andrew Schultz talk about black people because it should only go one way. But we here at the Blackout Tips, we have a segment that we call White People News. And now that Chris is here, he knows a lot of white people.
Yes, he might be able to help identify some, because child, we be on our own. We be like, I don't know.
He can recognize them. We're going to do some white people news.
White people news. Excited to the barbecue, we might be problematic or a little bit that's so very hard on our fragile faces. White people do.
Oh, yes. White people news. Let's get into it. See what they talking about. Jane's addiction breaks out into fight at Boston concert after Perry Farrell punches Dave Navarro on stage.
I have no idea who none of the people it is you just named.
No,
All
Dave
right.
Navarro, and I know of the band.
There you go. There you go. So, rock band Jane's Addiction broke out
Oh,
into
that's the
a,
name of the band.
yeah, they
Oh.
broke out into a fight at a Boston concert on Friday night after the lead singer Perry Farrell body checked and then punched Dave Navarro on stage.
Damn.
In the footage shared,
Bros is brewing, ain't they?
the what?
Bros is brewing.
Bros is brewing. What is that?
Bros is brewing. They out there
Oh,
fight.
brewing. Oh, I thought you
Yes.
said brewing like coffee. Yeah, they brewing out there. I guess I don't know these guys, but his wife now Farrell's wife shared the footage, which you would think would be kind of embarrassing, but she shared the footage. He can be seen angrily singing into the mic, then slamming his body into Navarro during the show at Leader Bank Pavilion. The lead singer then started shouting at the guitarist who backpedaled and tried to keep his bandmate at a distance by placing his forearm on his chest. And then I guess Perry, 65.
Woo, child. Y'all ain't afraid of breaking no hips? What is this?
He grew more agitated and proceeded to swing at Navarro, 57, but landed the blow on the guitar. A crew member ran from backstage to get Perry under control, which seemed to upset him further. Two additional men grabbed him as he seemed to try to fight him off. Navarro, meanwhile, placed his guitar on the stage, spoke to what appeared to be a security guard, and walked away.
Hit his hand on the guitar. You know that bitch gonna be swole for 3 days.
They did share via Instagram there had been some tension and animosity surrounding the band leading up to the fight. Perry's frustration had been mounting night after night. He felt that the stage volume had been extremely loud and his voice was being drowned out by the band. Perry had been suffering from tinnitus and a sore throat every night, but when the audience in the first row started complaining up to Perry, cussing at him that the band was playing too loud, that he couldn't hear it, Perry lost it. Some people were saying he's an addict and it's about drugs. I don't know. It is the name of the band is Addiction, so maybe I don't know. But yeah, they revealed the incident happened after Jane's Addiction started the song Ocean before Perry was ready and did the count off. Oh, so they started without him even doing the 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Mm-hmm. The stage volume was so loud at that point, Perry couldn't hear past the boom and the vibration of the instruments. And by the end of the song, he wasn't singing; he was screaming just to be heard. They said at the altercation also occurred behind the stage. The bassist Eric Avery put Perry in a headlock and punched him in the stomach 3 times.
Damn.
Eddie said her husband became a crazed beast in the 30 minutes following the fight and then broke down and cried and cried. Girl, you're not helping. Why you tell everybody that part?
Right?
Fans were concerned that in her comment section, when one begging her to get Perry help and stop enabling him. It's crystal clear your husband is struggling. Please stop trying to spin this. It's none of our business what's specifically wrong with Perry, but something is wrong with Perry. And while it isn't your sole responsibility to fix and save him, you also don't have to be part of the impasse that prevents him from healing. So I guess they think he's addicted to drugs. What it sounds like.
Yeah, and one of my buddies, fellow comic Ken Krant, shout out to him. I went to go see St. Vincent last weekend in Philly, and he was there with his lady. And he was saying that he saw them this past week he posted on Facebook, and he was saying how much bad shape Perry was in. And it was just like, so he said he was nodding off on stage, mumbling, singing choruses during verses, ranting and raving, making no effort to front the band. So it's like they had to like abort some of the songs or extend with like jamming and stuff. So yeah, like it's something that's been like an ongoing thing, and it's like he just needs help.
Yeah, well, I always just go by what Vernon Reed is saying. So of course,
Yes.
from Living Color, and it seemed like he was on the side of Navarro, so I got to roll with Team Navarro on this.
Yeah, yeah.
Steve-O. Know who that is? No,
yeah. Comedian Jackass.
Yep.
Okay.
Steve-O from Jackass cancels his boob job after speaking to transgender person about the oppression they face. So he's 50 years old. He had planned to get a boob job for a comedic bit. But he said he was gonna remove his tattoos, shave his body, flaunt his fake breasts to trick men at a motorcycle rally. After flirting with them, he would remove his helmet and reveal his true gender. That was gonna be his gag.
That's not funny.
I was gonna use breast augmentation. Then he said the transgender person with whom he spoke was the cashier at a grocery store he went to the day of the surgery. The person said they did not have a problem with the breast augmentation because it was the ultimate statement of body autonomy, me saying my body, my choice. However, the unnamed individual took issue with the part of the bit where he would deliberately trick people into thinking he was a woman and then fooling them. It said the stunt would be seen as he thought the stunt would be perceived as him celebrating the idea. The trans person said the stunt would be seen as celebrating the idea of hate towards trans people, and that was a bad thing. They also opened up to Steve-O about the many hardships that trans people face every day. They described how they weren't allowed to use the bathroom at their place of work, that there were like maybe 28 states in the country that would arrest them for having an ID that said female on it. That there were politicians making concerted efforts to lock them up in internment camps. It was really pretty heartbreaking, and the level of oppression that was described. Framed like that, I thought about it in a way that I hadn't before, where, wow, maybe it's not all fun and games, especially the pranks. Like, I would have considered it to be better footage if I was to be beaten up at a motorcycle rally. He recognized his previous mentality was flawed because ultimately it would be an exercise in celebrating violence against trans people. So he admittedly he did not initially go out of his way to speak to a transgender person when testing the bit on audiences, and that he didn't really feel that it was necessary. I had done a bunch of workshop shows to test out material. I had a number of trans people.
Necessary.
Yeah, I had a number of trans people come to me after the shows to voice support for the stunt. And I think some people would have been okay with it and some people wouldn't have. It would have been a mixed bag. He said his intention wasn't to be hurtful to anybody. Well, I think the same thing with Chappelle. And I think what happens is their fan base has trans people in it, but that also makes it a biased fan base. So if you go up there, they come to the show and you do 20 minutes of material about trans people, yeah, the trans people at your show are more likely to be like, it was funny, it was fine.
But right, because they're there to support
you.
Right.
Just if we do the blackout tips, I don't expect our audience to come up to us after and be like, what the fuck was that bullshit? They're going to come up and be like, that was hilarious. It's when it gets outside of that circle,
right,
that you start getting some other opinions that could be valid, could be not valid. But the point being, they're going to not be skewed by just being a fan.
Agreed.
And I appreciate his honesty, because I think a lot of people, we admonish people for this part, but I think this is the part you shouldn't admonish, which is he started from a place of ignorance and privilege and assumption, and then he was corrected, introduced to a different interpretation. Of course he didn't have the original understanding. He's not necessarily empathic like that. He's not necessarily well-read like that. It doesn't come innately to this white dude, especially a white dude who's made a living off of being a punching bag and a joke himself.
Yeah, doing pranks.
Who's a many time fought with addiction and all this stuff. To him, he's just like, oh, what a cool, funny prank, and then we'll show like the jokes on these men. These men are so transphobic, they beat me up. And at the end of the day, it's like someone's like, yeah, but that happens.
Yeah, that's real life.
People actually die from that shit, and it's not funny to me. It's kind of fucked up, and it makes it seem like how violence against trans people is hilarious. And he gets that understanding, and not just says I'm not gonna do it, but I like that he went out and told everybody, like, this is what I learned, this is why I was wrong.
Yeah, because a lot of people they just pivot and then they won't address it.
And how many people would have been in his comments like, the woke DEI, the liberal media is stopping you, and he's like, no, that's not what happened. I fucking learned something. And I see why I was wrong now, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, these two have been pretty dark, Rod. And I thought we were gonna. Isn't like Jake Gyllenhaal dating somebody, and somebody took a picture of them and what they were wearing. That's what these used to be, Rod.
Well, it's whatever white people are talking about. So that's how it got there. But I got you, brother. Okay.
No, okay.
It's like singing the national anthem. You gotta start low to go high, brother. You don't just start.
That's
start
true.
up.
You're absolutely
Kristen Cavallari, 37. In the white people news, anytime they put your age in the article, that's not good. Just gonna let you know. Anytime they tell you the age, because normally you gotta read the article to get that. But when they be like, Ben Affleck, 67, is the next thing is always bad. So anyway, Kristen Cavallari, 37, says boyfriend Mark Estes, 24, is the best sex she's ever had.
Breaking that back.
13-year age difference. She was married to Jay Cutler, who was an NFL athlete.
Yep. Oh, I remember that mess. That was a messy mess.
It was some hot mess. We loved it.
Child, spending all the chamomile tea.
She confessed her current relationship with a 24-year-old influencer has given her the best sex she's ever had during this week's episode of Let's Be Honest podcast. Now, I think it is funny that if we flip this on his head and like Leonardo DiCaprio said this shit, the fucking pitchfork
I agree.
That shit was not empowering at all, you motherfucker. Estes joins Cavallari for a game of truth or drink, during which they dished on their satisfying chemistry in the bedroom, as she explained how sex has gotten better for her with age. I think, is it gotten better with age, or is the age of the man gotten younger?
You're right. Come on now.
She's like, look,
the stamina ain't the same.
This 37-year-old sex is hitting when you're fucking a 24-year-old.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of things. I think sex for women gets better as you get older, because I think women, when you're in your early 20s and stuff, you're insecure in a lot of ways. You're worried about your body and what you look like. As if she's not worried about her body and what she look like. Look at this lady. She hasn't had a carb in 7 years.
Right. And now Nate potato in her life.
Right. She added, I've let all that go. I think I'm more present physically during sex than I've ever been. And I'm so wildly attracted to you. I just think we have really hot sex. Estes surprised the former Laguna Beach star by revealing that she's also the best sex he's ever had, for sure. I actually didn't know that, she replied. You've never said that to me. We've talked about how great our sex is, but you never like point blank said you're the best. I would have remembered that one. I mean, it would have been funny if you were like, you top 7?
Top 5, it ain't 5.
I give you like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you in the top half of women I fuck for sure. You know what I mean? If we adjust for age on a curve, you definitely the best 37-year-old I fucked. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hands down. I gotta give you that, Kristen. They also discussed their sexual fantasies and whether they ever faked the orgasm. Yeah, this is also peak, like, 24-year-old dude would think this is fun to talk about on a podcast.
Of course they do.
I'm sure Jay Cutler, when they were married and he's an NFL quarterback, this was a no-go.
Right.
Like,
he's like,
on a podcast talk about fucking. No,
ma'am, I got to play ball on Sunday. No, thank you.
First of all, you know I can't even fuck on Monday and Tuesday.
Right, because my hips hurt.
Gotta come out of concussion protocol. The mother 3 had previously opened up about her less than traditional relationship with her younger boyfriend. Oh yeah, she got kids too. They got a lot. It's a lot going on. Going on. You heard your mama podcast this weekend? I heard the podcast.
Oh, poor thing.
In April, she revealed that things are getting pretty serious between the two as they were discussing the possibility of kids. The one thing that I'm not actively thinking about, but is definitely in the back of my mind is, he wants to have a kid. So, I'm mulling it over. The Hills alum is mom to Camden 11, Jackson 9, and Sailor 8. None of them spell right. Though she shares them with her ex-husband, Jay Cutler. All of my kids are like, yes, do it. And she said, my biggest thing is like, Sailor, my youngest, is 8. The thought of going back and starting all over again, that's a lot, man. So,
yes, it is.
Good luck to them. We love to see them, these white people getting it. What about Jennifer Gardner?
I know who that white woman is.
right? You know her from Alias.
Aliens.
And Electra. Well,
Pretty
she
good
got a
video.
pretty good what?
Video game from back in the day. They made a pretty decent one.
Yeah, and she was just in the new Deadpool.
Yep.
Well, she just got a new house. It's $7.9 million worth of house.
Oh yeah.
It's a LA farmhouse where Ben Affleck sought the reprieve during J-Lo's divorce. But she apparently be rocking this house, and
She bought it.
And she got it and had it built in 2018 after she finalized her divorce with Ben Affleck. The Argo star 52 was seen arriving at the $7.9 million abode in July. Let me see if I can play the video. It's probably just me. I'll try to blow this video up. I think they show us. Fuck this video. I'll just explain it. But she's 52, and she seems to love opening the home up to family and friends. She did Architectural Digest magazine, and they just went in her house. How big a flex is that? Architectural Digest is like cribs for rich people.
Well, it ain't fake. It's like, no, this is actually my crib.
There ain't no Scarface posters up in there, I'll tell you that much.
You know what it ain't.
A special feature, especially in the summer, is having the living room doors all the way wide open, she said.
Come on, all the way wide open, no curtains.
As the video showed, a wall of glass in the living room seamlessly slide away to reveal a deck and a pool.
Oh, and I bet she got that filter where you can see outside but you can't see inside. She got that type of money. Who needs curtains?
Karen, I'll do you one better. She's so rich, she don't need the filter. Because can't nobody afford to be in viewing distance of her house.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, because she probably got acres around her. Yeah, yeah. She ain't got no neighbors. What am I talking about? My bad. If she do, it's a servant's house.
Yeah, and the servants have already seen them naked. So it's no matter to them. It's like, listen, he has to see me naked every time he hands me a towel when I get out of the luxurious bath. So me and Jeeves have gotten past that. I just walk around this motherfucker doing what I want to do. The only problem is if my kids are having their class pool party here, it's very hard to keep wet kids out of the house. I have to really just stand guard, she smiled. She also enthusiastically brought up her kids piling into one of the 4 built-in bunk beds in the slumber party room to watch a movie together.
Not the slumber party room.
I love having a spot that is just where kids can be kids.
Yes.
Wow.
I can't wait to be an adult like this. Shit, I'll be in there kicking the kids out.
Yeah, me and my brother learned to be kids in sharing a bedroom, but okay, sure, sis. This is where the kids can really be their kid themselves. She says she keeps her kids' favorite toys from childhood in the room so that little children who visit feel welcome, but she says she catches her offspring taking the toys out every so often. The 13 going on 30 stars shares 3 children, Violet, 18, Serafina, 15, and Samuel, 12, with Affleck. Building her home post-divorce wasn't the original plan, but after years of failing to find what felt like her forever spot, she took matters into her own hands. And that's how she built this house, guys.
Oh.
There she is jumping in, I guess, the gym.
Child, you know she got her own garden, her own trees. They be plucking shit.
She got an orchard. It grows cherries and apples and more.
Where is this again? Is this in California?
L.A.
L.A., okay.
7.9 mil.
Shit, I have an orchard too.
Once she bought her plot of land, she hired the husband and wife architect and interior designer team, Steve and Brooke Giannetti, to help her make her dreams of owning a new warm family home into reality. I wanted it to feel old and cool and historic, but I also wanted to make it work for a big family with a lot of things going on. So then they drew up this house and it was perfect. And now she's living the dream, guys. We love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's life after Ben Affleck.
It sure is.
Yeah.
For both of the Jennifers.
Yep.
Well, I don't know, Karen. Is there?
Oh shit, what happened?
Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck were seen kissing, holding hands during brunch with kids amid divorce. Maybe she not having life after Ben Affleck. She having life with Ben Affleck right now.
Oh shit.
Mm-hmm. The estranged couple was spotted having brunch together with their children at the Beverly Hills Hotel. A source exclusively told Page Six Ben and J-Lo are currently at the Polo Lounge at the Beverly Hills Hotel, holding hands and kissing. The kids are with them, but at a separate table.
At a separate table.
Somebody
Y'all sit at
said,
the kids' table.
somebody on Twitter said that they're white people's Offset and Cardi B.
They are.
They are. They love them.
They really are,
Back
man.
together.
But yeah, man. So now it's like, what's going on, man? Are they back together? Are they
Right, because it ain't official yet. Just because you filed don't mean it's official.
She was the one that filed.
You can
I saw
always
that
take it back.
movie. My ex made me watch that documentary, and it didn't seem like he didn't like revealing the stuff that she revealed, and then everybody points back to that him slamming the door when they went to Duncan. And him letting her get in the car and him like just slamming that.
Yeah. It's funny because once you go Affleck, you can't go back, is what they always say.
Hey, hello, my baby. Oh, my darling.
They also had so many stories, like, because, J-Lo stayed talking to the paparazzi in the press.
That's what she do.
And so it's funny watching. I wonder how she's going to spin this. Because she spent the last 2 or 3 weeks writing these stories about how, like, it kind of was Ben's fault, not mine. And also, I'm ready to move on and remake my image after the divorce. And I'm posting pictures of my butt again and, just trying to be happy with me. And now it's like, you making out with this nigga at breakfast. Now, what's the real truth, sis?
Right.
I don't know. Charlotte says, I do not understand him. By all accounts, she's not a nice person.
That's what people be saying. And this.
Who are the accounts? Because I'll be like, is he a nice person? I never seen this nigga smile. What's his deal?
With her.
All right.
And then one time wasn't Matt Damon talking to her? Not like he was dirty macking, but like she had like a moment with Matt.
Yeah, at like a war show or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was they were just talking or whatever, but then people wanted that to be something. But like Matt Damon married and all this shit, that's nothing.
It felt like it was on some friendship shit. So
Meanwhile, Brad Pitt is very happy with his girlfriend Inez de Roman. They spent the summer together.
All right.
Yeah. Which I know, him, Angelina Jolie, and them kids don't want to spend no time around his ass.
Yeah, why? Is he like mean or like or something?
Yeah, some abusive. They're accusing him of abuse, not just being mean. Now, I feel like the excuse people are gonna make for Brad Pitt is that Angelina Jolie is so woke that him being a regular ass dad is abused in Angelina Jolie's world. I think people are not looking into it too deep. They're just going like, yeah, but she probably just thinks being like, can you sit your ass down is abuse.
Yeah. He made one of the kids take the trash out.
Right.
You're abusing me, Dad.
Right. And I'm not going to read no police report. I'm just going to assume that that's what happened. I think that's how he's been allowed to flourish. Because obviously, if motherfuckers really treated him like he was an abuser, we wouldn't be seeing all this shit about him all the time. He's been working in Europe, so he spent a lot of time there. He's serious about Inez. He's very happy and enjoys spending time with her. She's easygoing and everyone likes her. This all seems like subtweets towards Angelina, in my opinion. I also think it's funny that this is news to where like someone or you yourself call the paparazzi to be like,
How do you yourself?
I just want to give you an update on my relationship with my new girl. It's getting pretty serious and I enjoy her. And
she's
the word on the the word on the street is
and I'm the street.
Yeah. Like, how would you notice? Imagine me picking up the phone and inform somebody. Hey guys, Chris, this is Rod. Don't leave my name out of it. Chris Lamberth's been having a pretty good time with his new chick. Okay. They're getting along famously. and everyone likes her, unlike the last bitch. But don't say that. just intimate.
This one's white.
Right. They truly enjoy each other's company. Yeah,
he shaved his beard because he's not gonna get slapped.
They be smiling and holding hands. No one's ever seen this. Are you gonna meet? It's like it's interesting. This article bring up what happened with him and Angelina Jolie. Nope, no need. That's it. End of this People article. Just they're happier than ever.
Did you even tell the age of the girlfriend? Because normally they drop the age in there.
Yeah.
Right. How old is she? I don't see it.
I was thinking Roger didn't say the age.
This is such a puff piece for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's not critical in any way. This
definitely came from his side.
Now I know some of y'all gonna roll your eyes in the chat and y'all listening later online, but I don't give a fuck.
31.
Okay, so he's 50. He's 59. She's 31 or some shit. He's 60.
Well, from Hello, let me post it in the chat.
No, you just tell me. I'll take your word.
It's it says he's 60. Inez is 31.
Best sex he's ever had.
The 60-year-old actor looked dashing in a black tailored suit by Louis Vuitton and was all smiles when he held hands with Inez, 31, who was stunning in a white floor-length gown by entire studio. So this was
this is what I got to say though, right? This is why people be feeling like it's just double standard because this dude should be an outcast, a pariah, or at least chastised about this shit. They wrote a whole article about it. And so when I get my white people news from the Daily Mail instead of Page 6, this is why. Because Daily Mail bring up the bullshit.
Yeah.
Daily Mail don't care. They don't give a fuck about you. They like, oh, and then he also got accused of hitting his children on a plane in front of his wife, Angelina Jolie. And I'll be like, see, thank you. Because Page 6 left they left the age out. Right. They left the Angelina Jolie shit out. They like it's kind of fucked up that they did that. So yeah, thank you, Daily Mail. I'm going back to y'all. Page 6, y'all don't notice.
Y'all look down thin ice.
Man, I hope I don't find no more about Brad Pitt because I want to see that Apple TV movie that come out in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, just do what I do when I watch the NFL. Don't think about it.
That's true. That's true.
That's what the fuck I do.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, this shit ain't got nothing to do with this until it's over. It's not like I gotta let them in my house.
Yeah.
Hampton's DA says Justin Timberlake isn't getting special treatment with plea deal. We're treating this case like any other. So he got a plea deal. Because did anyone think he was going to jail for that DWI?
No.
I mean, yeah, people don't normally get in too much trouble for the first one.
Yeah, now you start tacking up, that's different, but that first one.
Yeah. So I think he got a tentative deal to allow him to drive drunk driving charges, and he'll be slapped with a traffic violation instead. He will be reported to pay a $300 to $500 fine, which will be set by the judge in the case. And he put out a statement about letting himself down or some shit or whatever, which is always weird. It's like, I let my fans down. I'm like, I'm gonna be honest, Justin, I wasn't holding you up to this standard.
You ain't letting me down, baby.
Like, I don't know who your fans are of your music, but I doubt they were like, Justin Timberlake would never drunk drive. Like, those aren't the standards. I hope not. I like his music. This motherfucker clearly make great decisions. Like, that's not how that works. So yeah, the prosecutor is basically letting people know they're not giving him a sweetheart deal because he's Justin Timberlake. They're giving him a sweetheart deal because they give everybody a sweetheart deal for one drunk driving. So we'll see if it happens again. Good luck to that brother. So he might not beat his feet, but he beat those charges. All right, let's wrap this up with some sword ratchetness. That was white people news. See, I told you I'd get us through that, Chris.
It got much brighter after that. Those the first two.
I didn't even talk about that supermodel that got chopped up and pureed by her ex-husband. I left that out. Yeah, exactly.
Guess what's on the menu, kid? Mom. I'm sorry. I know that's terrible. I couldn't help myself. That joke was stuck in my brain.
Wow. All right. Karen is Karen's on one today, I guess.
What is that? What is that from?
Doc, it's a human right. Just talking about the wife that got pureed.
I know. Oh, that was just from your dome. Okay.
Yeah. You decided she was gonna stir it up on the podcast.
Yeah, he just made sure she was pressure cooked well.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Keep going. You're not even stopping. All right. A New York man is facing criminal charges after allegedly swinging a sword at a woman while near a child in Jamestown Wednesday morning. Jamestown police were called to an apartment building on the city's north side at 8:21 a.m. Police said a man got into a verbal confrontation with a woman at the complex, during which he allegedly grabbed a metal replica display sword, swung it at her numerous times in front of a small child.
Oh no!
They identified the 25-year-old man as Isaiah T. Fuentes, a homeless man living in the area. He since has been arraigned on charges of first-degree menacing and endangering the welfare of a child, pleading not guilty to both charges. He's been held in the Jamestown City Jail without bail. There you go, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful. You see somebody with a sword coming towards you and you got a kid, they don't care about that kid. That's your
The
job.
kid could get some too.
Right. They just want to chop it up like that man with his ex-model fiance.
That's all. Chop it up.
Chris, tell everybody where to find you, sir.
Chris Lamberth on Twitter and Instagram, and I have a podcast called The Mundane Festival, and I usually post where I'm going to be when I'm doing shows and stuff, and usually at the Comedy Cellar now. So when they book me, I'm there, and just, album. I have an album called Failed Running Back, comedy album, and I hope to cook up some more stuff for you, hopefully within the next year or so.
Make sure y'all check out the homie Chris, man. So funny, so good. Great podcast. Great friend. Enjoyed talking to you. And
always.
we'll be back throughout the week. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too. Bye.